The 2010 movie Predators was a fairly decent addition to the Predator universe, expanding on its lore by introducing the Berserker Predators, also known as the Super Predators. While they were thought to be stronger than the standard Yautja we know, they mostly differed by their physical traits and tribal beliefs. Unlike the Predators we know from most of the material sources out there, the Berserkers, or Super Predators, were known to hunt humans and other predators. They would hunt by their own set of rules, which meant nothing is off limits, which could lead to different approaches of hunting a target and what combat tactics are used. The Berserkers are pretty much the bad bloods from the comic books and novels. The 2010 movie Predators ended off with two survivors, Isabel and Royce, trapped on the game preserve planet. In the same year after the movie, a comic book that served as a sequel was released by Dark Horse Comics. The events took place a few weeks after the timeline of the movie. I did cover this in a previous video, and it was a fairly decent story. As more creatures are dropped off by other predators, Royce and Isabel manage to survive by hunting whatever they come up against. During one night, another predator tracks them down, and instead of attacking, it simply drops off supplies. It must have seen Royce as a worthy opponent, and the story takes a huge twist after this event. Royce is given predator armor and weapons. He would use these items when they are confronted by a new enemy, a four-armed giant of a beast, a larger, aggressive, and more dangerous predator. As they make their escape, they try to make sense of what's happening. Royce finds out that the predator biomask can react to brainwaves. This would be extremely useful for combat situations. By the end of the story, the two of them do defeat the four-armed predator. They combine their efforts and take it down. To see the full story, you should check out the video I did on this topic. So the ending shows more predator ships dropping off other creatures on the planet. It seems like they are doomed to stay here, fighting until they find a way to escape. The comic book sequel ended there, but there was recent news about a movie version of Predators 2. While it was never actually adapted as a film, there were some ideas of what happened after the movie. Over on the website AVP Galaxy, they got to speak with Alex Litvak, who is credited as one of the writers of Predators in 2010. One of the topics was the possible movie sequel. Here's what Alex said. In the sequel, now this is with Royce and Isabel. They're still on the planet. They're still stuck there. And they, the predators, keep dropping more people. And the opening of the movie was that somebody new gets dropped and a predator shows up about to kill this person. Boom, the predator gets killed, and it's Royce and Isabel showing up and saying, "Welcome to the Resistance." So now, they have their own little tribe on the planet where they're surviving. They're being hunted, but they're also striking back. So we establish the way they are. We also establish that Royce and Isabel are incredibly valuable targets, because these guys, the Berserker or Super Predators, are all about the genetic upgrades. They want their DNA, but they're still stuck here. They've got their foothold on survival. But how do we get back to Earth? There's only one way. We got to get on the Predator ship. At the end of Act 1, Royce, Isabel, and their guys are captured by Super Predators on purpose because they allow themselves to be captured and are brought to their ship that they use to funnel people to this planet. There's got to be some sort of big transport. So now you get to see this transport. So our guys break out, and what the movie is Die Hard on a Predator ship. The idea was now you break free and you're trying to take control of the ship with all the super predators you have to fight there. And of course, all the other stuff that's there, like the alien zoo on that ship. And get this, the last thing is why Drew at 20th Century Fox was like, wow, I love that idea. At the end of the day, we win. We get back to Earth. We land and we realize it's the future. All along, we thought this was happening now. But what if these guys have been on ice for 300 years? The hatch opens and the Space Colonial Marines come in. That was how we merge the two worlds. The alien and predator world finally merge and bring the Space Marines into the story. He, Drew at Fox, goes, I love it. We just kept waiting for him to say, go write this. I can't speak to that. But I guess some stars never lined up, so that version never got off the ground. It's a pretty interesting and unexpected idea, but would it have worked? Well, this version never got approved, so we will never know. But I want to ask you, which version of Predator's sequels do you think is better? The official comic book or the proposed movie that never happened? Put your vote in the comments section. I'm actually not against this idea. If we look at the movies, they mostly focus on their own human characters, for each respective franchise, of course. In Predator films, it's just humans like mercenaries, soldiers, and criminals. But in Alien, they focus on the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, which is filled with scientists, military personnel, and they also hire the colonial marines at times. We are always going to have fans that want the complete crossover of characters and stories. I think with the correct writing, it might work. But if we look at the comic books, there's been stories of some characters crossing over. I think in those cases, they just want to test the waters and see what the reception is. I am open to the idea of merging the franchises completely, but if it never happens, then it's not going to bother me. In the past, we did hear that the Alien and Predator universe is separate, and the Aliens vs. Predator universe is its own thing, even though they did make some connections to other sources. I can see why they may want to keep their own characters in their own stories to keep them unique to that section. So, coming back to the movie sequel of Predators, would I like to see it happen? Well, actually, yes. I think it was a slightly better film than The Predator in 2018. I think with all movies, they each bring good and bad things. Not everyone is going to agree with every idea, and that's where the problem is. Even if some Alien, Predator, or AVP films are hated by some fans, I can still see the good in them, despite the bad ratings. While I did cover the full story of Dutch's return to the Predator franchise this year, I do have an older video that talks about the few times he was mentioned in other stories. It's a great source to look at if you're just curious to get all the information. Dutch is even mentioned in one early draft of the Predators movie script, so check it out. So that's it for this video. If you want to see more lore videos around the Predator franchise, all you have to do is subscribe and turn on the bell notification. I've also got a huge playlist all about lore and history. I cover many other franchises, so have a look around. You might find something else of interest. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.